Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got a review for you of this little guy. This is the Zieba Knives S2 Mini, which is a very interesting piece. And the reason I got a chance to handle this is thanks to a donation from my buddy Andrew, who actually donated this knife to the channel in exchange for any proceeds going to charity afterwards, which is just win-win. So thank you so much for that, Andrew. Next thing, let's do a little size comparison real quick here. First off, against the Spyderco, as always, so you can see this is not a very large knife at all. Here it is against the Steel Wheel, Ontario Rat number 1 and Rat number 2. I can't even get it. It's all headed downhill. And then actually against some of my favorite smaller knives to recommend. Here is the Spyderco Chaparral, which is a very nice knife in this same rough kind of size range here. Here it is against the Olamic Knives Buska, which is very similar in terms of overall size, although this guy is markedly thicker than the Buska is. And, I think that ought to do it for overall size comparisons here. Then finally, a note on the maker. This is by Zieba Knives. And Zieba is a guy who makes a huge line of different knives, but this is one of his pieces, so there you go. Let's go ahead and jump into the good, the great, the bad, and the ugly of this particular interesting pocket knife here. So first off, on the good side, I do love the size. I actually did most of my carrying for review for this guy on a trip to Cleveland, and Cleveland, Ohio is a land of stupid knife laws. They have a law that says anything over 2.5 inches is illegal, and this one comes in under that line. Using my magical digital caliper here, you can see that the blade length on this guy comes in right around, 2.49 or so. So it's right in that same vicinity, and I love that very much. That's a great size, and honestly, that's enough blade for a lot of people, for a lot of tasks. And the fact that it comes in under those legal lines for places like Chicago, Boston, Cleveland is just a beautiful thing. Consult your lawyer about local knife laws. Next thing, this is a nice blade on this guy. I gotta say, I do appreciate the grind here. He's got a little bit of a hollow grind, which goes into a tanto up at the front here. It's nice. The blade steel, as is put very prominently on the side of it, pardon me, is M390, which is a great blade steel. It's one of the best blade steels out there. And honestly, it's a nice blade shape, because you get some flat area down here, get some belly, almost a little bit of a tanto thing, which can give you a little bit of scrape it to it. It is a very nice blade shape. And then when you add in things like this little bit of harpoon, this kind of compoundy looking swedge, where you get one piece of swedge up here, another one down here, that's just a beautiful freaking thing. I'm a big fan of that. And so that is absolutely nice. Next thing, this is a very rounded knife. In the hand here, you can see, well, not in the hand, to the eye, you can see that there is a rounding across the entire handle here. The entire thing is kind of radiused. And what this means is that this fits very nicely in the hand. The fact that it is a little bit thicker and a little bit more rounded, coupled with this clip, which is completely devoid of hot spots because it is so relatively smooth, it just means that this feels very nice. I like the ergonomics of this. I only do have a 3-finger grip here, even with my relatively small hand. So if you're a big one, and that might not work for you, but it feels very nice in the hand. Next thing, I do love the long clip on this guy, because honestly, a longer clip on a smaller knife is a beautiful thing. That's one thing a lot of people don't necessarily get when they first get into knives. They think, oh, small knife, small clip, but no, you actually want the bigger clip to help this guy stay in the pocket, even though it has, there's not as much, if you got a knife that's this freaking big, hanging down in there, it's going to take a lot more to dislodge it. So I like that very much. And then finally, the action on this guy is great. I mean, seriously, it has an incredibly good flipping action. Fires 100% of the time, and it's nice. It's not quite false shutty, but it certainly it's a-okay. It's a great action. No complaints about the action there. And so to me, all of that is the good. It's got a great action, a nice long clip. It's got some rounding, which makes it very nice in the hand. It's got a very nice blade. It's a high-end small knife, which is a weird thing, and it comes in under that 2.5-inch line, which is legally important in a lot of places. On the great side for me is the style of this guy, because this is a knife that's a little bit outside the norm. I mean, the rounding in and of itself is a little bit unusual, but then you get this interesting little bit of gritty hatching to it. Gritty, not as in like it has a grit to it. A grid, that is, not like it has grit, as in sandpaper. Guys, I can't freaking talk. But it's got this grid thing going on the side, which I like, and it's got that on both sides, which is cool. And it's very dynamic, and that's neat. I like the blade shape very much, with the harpoon and everything like that. This compoundy grind up here is cool, absolutely. I like the clip on it. I mean, the clip on this guy is kind of hilarious. I don't quite know what the clip is supposed to be. It's either Well, yeah, but it looks great, and I like the fact that it's got a little bit of a sense of humor. I don't know if it's being a little bit procreative or just feeling a little impish, but whatever it is, it's a thing. And honestly, I just think it's a unique looking knife. There's not another knife out there that looks like this, and so to me, that's what's great. Is the style on this guy is absolutely unique and kind of cool. On the bad side, first off, as I mentioned in this assembly video, this has a really, really shallow pivot screw here. You can see, because of this little dive into the Torx bit here, there is only a very, very small depth for this bit to actually, engage here. It's much better on this side, but on this side, that's just a recipe for stripping, and so I don't like that very much, and I hope that he's able to use a different fastener in the future. It's not a big deal, but it is absolutely going to be a deal. Next thing, the harpoon on the blade here, and in fact the back of the blade in general, has some very sharp edges, and so that's something I'd like to see worked on in the future, just as this is coming out of the factory. Knock those down a little bit. Next thing, this is not a huge deal, but it is a little scary. Look how close the tip is to the edge of the knife here. If I just run my finger along this, I absolutely do feel the tip, and that's not super incredibly stellar. I'm not a big fan of that. Next thing, the font on this guy, and I'm nitpicking here, but it's an expensive knife. I'm allowed to. Look at this. It's just like big Helvetica M390. Like, it's not subtle in any way. I don't know. I don't love it. I much prefer when you get these nice small markings, like, for instance, here. On the Buska, M390, just real subtle, little in the corner. It's there if you're looking for it, but it's not M390 written on the back of it there. I don't love that 100%. And then finally, on the bad side, this is a very pricey knife. I mean, $465 is a lot of freaking money. It's nicely milled, it's nicely ground, the materials are nice, it's M390! But nonetheless, this is a pricey piece, and it puts it on the very high end of the small knife market. I mean, I paid more for my Buska, but I also have Timascus inlays and crazy things like that, so, keep that in mind. I can't get too bad out of shape given the quality, but the price is absolutely up there, and that's going to put this off the table for a lot of people, especially who are looking for a smaller piece. So that's the bad to me, is that it is still pretty pricey at $465. The font choice here is ridiculous, even though the logo looks good. The tip is awfully close to the edge when closed. I don't think I mentioned this, that it's got a weirdly shaped lanyard hole. The edges on the back of the blade are a little sharp, and this pivot screw absolutely needs some love. To me, unfortunately, there is some ugly here, and the first of which is that the stock on this guy is pretty thick. We compare it here to the Spyderco Delica. Holy crap, is this guy thick. I mean, seriously, let me bust out my magic caliper here. Sorry, I just got this, so I'm a kid with a brand new toy. 0.132 inches or so. But anyways, this has a very thick stock, and I don't really feel like it's necessary, and especially given they put a nice hollow grind on there, so it still cuts-ish. But yikes, that's a lot. Next thing, this is a very slippery knife. This finish on it, although it's very attractive, very smoky or something like that, it feels very slippery. And without this grid on here, this would be completely out of line. I'm not a big fan of that. I mean, there's enough contouring here that it's not sliding around too much in the hand, but this is absolutely not a knife for the Vaseline factory. Next thing, the clip. Like I said, I kind of love it at some level. It's a little, I don't know what they're going for here, but what they are definitely getting is form over function. Because this is a bit of a pain to get in the pocket. I mean, if we take a look at a great clip, for instance, like on the Rat 2 here, you can see there's plenty of ramp there. On this guy, unfortunately, there really is not much in the way of ramp at all. And in fact, you kind of need to attack the pocket at a very specific angle, coming at it so that the knife is being inserted in this way. That makes it okay, but it's not great. I'm willing to kind of give it a pass because it is so unique, but know that you are absolutely getting form placed over function here. Then finally, on the ugly side, the warranty on this guy is really crappy. I mean, Zieba put up a blog post talking about his warranty, and he's got things in there like original purchase only. Knives needs to be returned with the certificate of authenticity with holograms. The knives without that have no warranty. All knives sold by dealers are not subject to free sharpening service. Voided by damage caused by excessive and/or aggressive blade flicking. Come on, guys. I mean, he allows disassembly, which is nice, but this is basically a tour de force of what you shouldn't do in our $495 knife warranty. Because this kind of gotcha-filled and evasive warranty makes me feel like I am the enemy to him. And if I got a problem, I may well be on my own. So to me, that is deeply ugly. The warranty is just like, it's a screw you kind of warranty. It has a clip that is form over function. It is very slippery, and the stock on this just feels very thick given the size of this blade overall. Final conclusions to me, this is kind of a hard knife to finally conclude because at some level it does have excellence. It is beautifully made. It's very unique. It has a very nice looking blade, and it does have a sense of humor in this clip, 100%. But it is also offset by some pretty unpleasant stuff. The fact that it's not, this blade stock, come on, guys. So it's not a super great cutter. It's very expensive. It's slippery. The clip just isn't all that great for regular use. And the warranty is just a tour de farce, if you will. And so, although I've liked some of Zieba's stuff in the past, this is a knife that's kind of aggressively mediocre to me. It shows greatness, but that greatness is like forcefully shoved away by ugly in pretty equal measure. And so ultimately, it is a great knife that manages to be just okay. If you love some of the wonderful elements enough to kind of tip the balance for you, then no problem. You're probably going to like this knife. But for me, at this kind of a price point, it ends up just feeling like a little bit of a wash. So anyways, there you go. Hope this has been interesting to you, that this S2 Mini is minimizing your pain if you buy one. And that you have yourselves an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. M390! Bye now.